Now, it's a well-known fact. You guys grew up with a wrestling ring in your backyard. Now, that wasn't there originally. So my question is, what got you into wrestling?
Oh, man. This is Nick. It's hard to answer that because it's been in our blood literally since we were both in diapers. My dad would always have it on TV. So you could say the Hulk Hogan era is what really got us into pro wrestling.
Okay. As I sit here and look at this very impressive career that you two have had, you've been in pretty much every pro wrestling company, even if it was just for a very short span of time. Tell us a little bit about your journey before AEW.
Well, and we've been doing this for going on 16 years now, and we started out in Southern California. And here there's at the time there wasn't many wrestling companies to wrestle at. There was only a couple, and they were heavily influenced in lucha libre, which is we're close to Tijuana, Mexico. So that's what the style and culture of wrestling really is around the area. It's a lot of Mexican luchador style wrestling. So Nick and I trained in the art of lucha libre. We learned a lot about that, and we wrestled. In the very, very beginning, under masks, they call them in wrestling hoods, and we wrestled in silly gimmicks like the El Galeneros, which were like basically chicken. I did a couple of matches as a dog called Fluffy. So like that's how we really started, and we did that when we were green. And then once we got good, we took the masks off and we started wrestling all over, basically for free around Southern California, and eventually we got a company called Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, which is basically, where you want it to be. It's the biggest company in SoCal. And after that, that's where we got our names out, and that's what put us on the map. We got an offer to come to Japan and wrestle at Dragon Gate. And from there, we started traveling to the East Coast every weekend, getting a flight out, and we started getting our names out. And that was the beginning of it. And people started to take notice, and the internet started liking us. And then eventually, we went to this place called TNA Wrestling, and that was our first big break. We were on Spike TV on Thursday nights, and we kind of learned about what it meant to wrestle on live television and how to work a camera. It didn't work out so well. From that point, we got our biggest break of all. We became Bullet Club in New Japan. And that's where we're probably best known for our work, for our entire career, was in New Japan Pro Wrestling under the Bullet Club. And from that point, we built a cult audience, and we started Being the Elite, our web series, and we blew up. And we got the attention of one Tony Khan, and we decided to start AEW. It's all kind of a small in a nutshell. That's kind of our story right there.
Kind of leads me into what I was going to ask next, which is what gave you guys the idea for your YouTube show, Being the Elite?
I would say boredom. These trips that we would do in Japan in particular were so long and just sometimes very hard to get through because at the time, Matt and I had just had kids. We both had a baby, and then soon we've had 2 kids each. So we were missing them. We were missing our wives. But it was a way to pass time, and we felt like it was a good way to give to our audience back some free content, and to show what we do backstage, like before this, no one really did it. So we felt like just the wrestling wasn't enough. We wanted the fans to see our actual personalities and how it was to get on an airplane for 12 hours and wrestle and then get back on a plane 24 hours later to fly 12 hours back and then to do shows for Ring of Honor during the weekend. And the fans caught on, and they loved it right away, and we felt like that's what made our careers, was getting the fans to know us a little bit more personally.
Okay. Now, from a fan standpoint, it seems like January 1, you guys announce All Elite Wrestling, and then poof, now we're into pay-per-views. Now we're into weekly television shows known as AEW Dynamite on TNT every Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. What was it like creating AEW from your guys' standpoint?
It was a really long process, and I mean, I can tell you this. You know, I was the first one to pick up the phone with Tony, and my wife was in the room, and it was just the three of us. So AEW was all but just a conversation between the three of us with exactly zero staff members. You know what I mean? So to watch it grow from being just a conversation to being this thing now, this powerhouse, this. Every week we have a live television show for 2 hours. Like it's pretty surreal to me because it all happened so quickly too. All things considered. I mean, the first time I talked to Tony was July 3rd, 2018. So, you know, it really wasn't that long ago. And to see what we have done already, it's absolutely incredible. Yeah, that time, there was a time span like 6 months where we were building and creating a team, and it felt like it was taking forever. But now it's like, you know, what are we on, our 7th or 8th episode of Dynamite already or whatever? It feels like now time is just moving so fast and quick. Like it's the absolute opposite of the first 6 months of this project. I can't even, I'm like, where is time going? We already have to go on the road again. There's already another episode. Like it's pretty crazy. But I think for me, like I'm just so proud of how it's all shaped and formed into what it is, because this is what we talked about and what we hoped for and what we hyped in our minds for so long, and now we're seeing it all happen. So I take great pride in it.
Oh yeah. Nick, I know you took to Twitter and I watched Being the Elite earlier today already. Matt is not cleared to wrestle this Wednesday. So for the first time in 4.5 years, you'll be in singles competition. How does that feel for you?
Oh man. I'll be honest. I'm a little nervous. Not because Matt won't be there, but because I'm worried that I'll blow up quickly and lose energy because I'm so used to tagging out. And, man, it's a different game when you're in there with a guy like Phoenix who doesn't run out of energy. So I've been doing extra cardio to try to keep up with this guy. But I'm excited. It's going to be fun. I feel like we have a chance to really have one of the better matches of the night too. So
okay,
it's gonna be good.
And now, do you think this match will reignite the feud that you guys had with the Lucha Brothers?
Oh, it's definitely possible. I know Tony actually wanted to do a rematch a couple of weeks ago, actually, and I actually had to tell him, no, not yet. Let's wait a little longer. So who knows? It could definitely happen.
Okay. Now tell me, what does the future hold for the Young Bucks? And, of course, after watching this week's Being the Elite, for the Elite.
Good question. For so long, we were united and we were one and we dominated the pro wrestling industry, you know, and I think it's interesting because, you know, Nick and I, for one, we find ourselves not at the top of the rankings. We're not at the top of the tag team mountain like we have been for so many years. Kenny Omega, same thing. He's the best wrestler in the world, but right now he's not the champ. He's not at the top of the rankings. Hangman Page, like he, you know, I think a lot of people fantasized that Hangman was going to beat Chris Jericho and win the title, and he didn't. So, I mean, and Cody was just unsuccessful at beating Jericho. So it's like, if anything, I find it interesting, you know, for us, because so many people predicted we were just going to maul everybody and this was going to be this elite vanity project, and it ended up being the absolute opposite of that. But I think for us, it's more dynamic for our characters to chase and to maybe finally like find ourselves again and to become one again, if that's what we end up doing. I think that's more interesting to me than us just all dominating our goals. People like rooting for someone, and I think the Elite is a great team to root for.
Okay. Matt, do we know exactly how long you're going to be out?
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back on the road. Whether or not I'm wrestling or not, I don't know. I'm actually staying home this week, but I will be back in town at least for the next Dynamite.
Okay. And of course, circling back to being the Elite, Nick, there's been kind of a catchphrase that you've become known for regarding merchandise. So I just want to know, can I ask Matt the question?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Hey, Matt, where's the shirt?
Oh, for the love of God. The shirt has been worn for so long now, it's faded. Like, Nick just won't let it down.
Yeah, what's funny is the reason that he started throwing all the merchandise out that night, it was like, man, what was it, 3 weeks ago, was to try to end that gimmick, that bit. And the fans just love it too much. We have to continue it. So he tried to get rid of all that merchandise on purpose.
Now, will that shirt be available for purchase at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum this Wednesday when AEW comes to Indianapolis?
Oh, man. Unfortunately, I don't think it will. I think it's only on ProWrestlingTees.com right now, but we probably should start bringing it on the road.
Again, Matt and Nick Jackson, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking with the Young Bucks here on WROI. Look forward to the opportunity to talk with you guys again.
Thank you, my friend.
Matt, wishing you a speedy recovery. And Nick, look forward to seeing you this Wednesday at Indianapolis.
Oh, thank you. It's going to be fun.
All right. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon.